the blue corner, we have Jores van Team Consulting. The red corner, Anna Angelova, Team Coaching. And no.
Let's see who's going to win.
this is
Elbows up, gloves up. Elbows up, yeah.
this is not a boxing match. Today we are discussing a very interesting topic. But before we dive into the topic, welcome to a new episode of More Than Just Task Management, your favorite daily podcast where we help you build a successful business. Whether you are just starting or you already have a business and you're growing, we're here for you every day. I'm Anna Angelova, business coach and consultant, and my co-host is Jores Minusvan, the business consultant. Hey, Jores.
Hey, Anna.
So let's dive in.
Yeah,
Today,
like you said.
we're discussing two approaches you can lead your team. So if you're just starting, this might not be anything that applies to you right now because most likely it's just you working for the business. But if you already have an established business where you actually run a team, how you show up as a leader matters. How you get the best out of your people matters. And I remember, I think it was definitely last year when I was attending the business master class by Darren Hardy. He mentioned that people bring 25% of their potential or something like this at work, and it's up to the leader to get out the other 75%, to empower people, to inspire them, to lead them to their full potential. And what we're discussing today is two approaches that you can help your team, you can help your people and lead them. And one is Team Blue, consulting, and the other one is Team Red, coaching. So, Joris, giving you the microphone, let's start with talking about what consulting is and how it can be used by business owners, business leaders who have teams, how it can be used to help elevate the team, empower the team. And I know you love the empowering your people. I know you love um,
Mm-hmm.
this, and you do this a lot with your team. So, giving you the mic, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, I'm older than dinosaurs. I used to consult before dinosaurs were around. But when I started in my career, it was more of uh, I was a consultant in a capacity, more of we don't have the capacity, you know how to do this, come and do it. But as my career uh, improved, the consulting role also changed. The consulting role became from a capacity filling into the intellectual knowledge filling. So a consultant would come in. Hiring people takes time. The learning everything takes 6 to 12 months. You have an immediate problem you need to solve within the 1 to 3 months. What do? You find a consultant that can come in, identify what's wrong or what your goals are and why you're not achieving it. Still interview people, talk to people, look at your technology, look at the business problem, look at your business processes, and then give you a roadmap and say, step by step, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you will achieve it. And the consultant also has to prove that yes, this is logical and it will work. It's not just I tell you and you go do it, and also give the ROI and the TCO and all that stuff. So, and as a consultant, I learned to it's best for me. Most of the time, company says no. Can you help us do it? It's best to say no. So I come in as an expert, identify what the problem is, give a solution and a roadmap how to achieve that solution, and then you walk away. That's the role of a consultant. And in many times it's happened where uh, sometimes the company was able to execute, sometimes they were not able to. Especially in the recent 15, 20 years, I don't want to get involved with the operation. So a true consultant is the one that comes in, identify what needs to be done, and walks away. And I think Um, this is powerful in a way that it shortens the time to achieve the goal. If you were internally going to do it in 18 months, a consultant gives you a roadmap in a month, 2 months. You've seen so many times. I've done this for small companies, large corporations, and that is strength. And once that consultant is off your payroll, you're not paying for it, but you now have a roadmap. Then you can, for a cost of a consultant, you can hire three full-timers to execute. So I see the power. I've seen the power in this. Whether this enables the people or not, whether the company has the people to execute or not, that is not the concern of a consultant, because we purely focus on the business. We purely focus on the technology, whether you're one or the other, business consultant or technology consultant, or like me, a hybrid, and we give a solution based on that. The people problem belongs to the company, the HR, the manager, directors, the VPs, whatever. And this doesn't mean we are careless. We don't care about people, but it's just a different focus, different mindset. And for us, focusing and spending energy on anything else it's a waste. We see that as a waste. So it's a very surgical, focused approach into solving huge multi-million-dollar problems, or even small, 2xing my operations problem.
And
So this is my experience.
yeah, I would say that if I'm to summarize it, ultimately, when you wear the hat of a consultant, you're the expert who provides the solution. And like you said, not just, oh, this is the solution, go do it, but also with an explanation and logically, this is what the solution is. Now go do it. And like you said, most of the time you don't get involved in helping with the implementation. And if you think about as a business owner, so if you're thinking, oh, okay, how can I use consulting and or how can I, as the business owner, wear the hat of a consultant when I lead my team? And for me, what comes up is that as when you act as a consultant type of leader, what you do is when your team needs to do something, you come in and you say, this is the path, this is the roadmap, go do it. And sometimes you can implement it with them, you can do it with them, but a lot of times you let them do it. You tell them, this is how it's done, this is how we get from here to there, like this is where we are, this is how we get from here to there, now go do this. And
It's a
when
very
you're
top-down approach.
yes, and when your team comes with a problem, like when someone comes with a problem to you, you would go and say, this is the solution, now go do it. It's not micromanaging. It's more of a, you're the expert, you tell them this is the solution, go ahead and do it. Now, thinking about coaching and wearing a coach's hat. Coaching is more about empowering the other person to come up with their own solution. Yes, as a coach, sometimes I provide my own insights, my own expertise, or some intuitive ideas. But most of the time, the coach is the one that asks a lot of questions, probes to allow the other person to find a solution. And I do remember when I was still working with the bank, it was probably 10 years ago. No, not 10 years actually. It would have been 5 years, 6 years ago. So I would have graduated already from IPAC, yeah. And I graduated from IPAC in 2020. I had a manager, and uh, she was like every time I would go to her, she would ask, and I would ask for help. Like there was something, like I would go to her and ask her, how do I approach this? Someone emailed me with something. How do I approach this? Or something happened. What do I do? What's my next thing to do? She would, instead of answering and saying do this, she would actually ask me a question. So she would respond to my question with a question, which was usually, what do you think? How would you approach it? And then I would tell her, and she's like, perfect, go do it. So and then later on, I found out that she actually was also a graduate of IPAC, the coaching school I went to, which was I didn't know before that, before I enrolled to the program, and then I found out, which was amazing. And she was one of the best managers I've ever had. Really, really great manager. And unfortunately, she passed away, and it's not with us anymore. But this is the coaching approach. The coaching approach is you answer a question with a question. And it's really powerful. It can be really powerful. And I'm thinking, like, I know that we position it a little bit like coaching versus consulting. Like, do you use one or the other? And I would say that there are probably a few factors that play in this. One is your personal preference. What kind of a person you are? Do you tend to be more towards the consulting end of the spectrum where you provide the solution? And we all love helping. We all love providing solutions and fixing things. When someone comes with a problem, oh, this is the fix, go do it. And it feels amazing. And this is the level 4 energy in the energy framework. And then your personal preference might be more towards the coaching, like asking questions. So this is one thing that plays a role, and it's a factor, your personal preference. And then, as I was thinking about today's conversation, another thing is, of course, the preference of the person you who comes to you with the problem. Like when someone from your team comes to you with a problem, it's also about them, where they are in their journey, what do they prefer. And in some ways, I would approach someone bringing a problem to me or a question to me. I would approach it with the coach hat first, trying to empower the person to, what do you think? Like, how would you solve it? What is your approach? And then if this doesn't work, then step in and say, okay, based on my experience, based on the fact that I'm the business owner and know so much about my business and how things work, this is actually a solution. And put the consultant hat ultimately. And yes, consulting and coaching in some ways can be put on a spectrum and can be opposites. But that's why I love what you were saying, Jores, with coming up with those different solutions, that it's not consulting versus coaching as approach when you lead your team. It's integrating them in a better solution, in a solution that taps into both, gets the best of both. And it's in one dimension, yes, they are opposites. But when you start adding other dimensions, you can easily use all of them and like both of them ultimately.
They're
And
complementary, yeah.
they are complementary. And for example, when someone starts with you might want to, like when someone is a new hire, you might go more towards the consulting part where you let them know this is how things are done here, these are the ways we do things, and less of the coaching, less of what do you think. But as they grow with you, as they start delivering results, you might switch more towards, as I was saying, the coaching approach, where when they come to you with something, you ask a question, you empower them to own the process, to own their solutions, and use less of the consulting. And I know I've been talking a little bit long, but I wanted to hear
No.
your thoughts. Like, as a business owner who has a team, who leads a team, how do you see, like, in what cases do you see the consulting approach working well, and in what cases do you see the coaching? And I know you do both, although you're, like I said, you are a consultant in general. When you lead your team, the way you empower people, I don't know if I've seen anyone else empower and grow people. Like, you've grown so many leaders within your team, within your teams. So I really want to hear what your thoughts are, Jores.
So a couple of things. So you know how there's a saying that says, "Give a person a fish, they'll eat one. Teach them how to fish, they'll eat forever." I think the closest analogy consulting is consultant gives a company a fish. They come in, they're time bound, they need to solve a problem, quickly give the fish, here you go. Coaching, a coach teaches people to fish. So uh, coaching also comes from a kindness of and people's considers people and their involvement. Consulting doesn't. And as you mentioned, I don't like the word or and but. I like the word and this is the beauty of it. So as a, I don't think if there are any specific cases that we can talk about, I'll try to think of, but my approach would be like you mentioned. First of all, the person, how experienced are they? Where are they in the journey with your company? Second of all is time. Do you have time? If you don't have time, consulting ways to go for it. If there is a customer on the phone screaming and one of your people comes at you, you don't have time to teach, you don't have time to coach, you don't have time to hold hand or ask them, oh, you have a personal problem today you're causing. So, coach, right there, boom, here's this, do this. Who's the customer? Do this, do this, do this, get it. Once the customer is satisfied, then you can call the person back and say, in the future, these are the things that you consider, who the customer is, how important they are, what's the revenue for that customer, what was the problem. So I think that the best way to do it is to combine, and there are no specific use cases. I think you need to be, as a
I will
leader,
actually
you need to be the judge.
the use case, yeah, the use case you shared though is a great example, and I didn't think about time, and that's why I love our conversations. That time is also a factor. So not only your personal preference, not only where your employees on their journey and their personal preference as well, because there are people who respond to being coached and they step up, and there are people who don't respond to being coached. You actually need to be the leader telling them what the path looks like. And I really love the fact that you mentioned time, because you're absolutely right. When we're talking about an urgent problem, absolutely, you step in. Most of the times, you need to, not most, like yeah, you need to step in and
Yeah.
provide a solution. And after that, like you said, then you can move to either a consulting approach where you say these are the things we do, or a coaching approach. And it's interesting. Yesterday, I had a regular meeting with some other coaches, and one of them mentioned a great question you can ask, which comes from level 5 perspective. Instead of asking uh, after the urgent situation is resolved, instead of asking what went wrong, which is can be a bit judgmental and can be like level 2. Level 5 approach is asking, what did we learn from this situation? What happened? What did we learn from this situation? Which is more coming out of curiosity and more of a coaching approach where you allow the other person to share their perspective. And yes, ultimately, you will find out what went wrong. You will find out what went wrong and how it can be solved.
Mhm.
And this was a great example. And thank you so much for sharing it. When it's something urgent, when it's time, like the time bound, when the time is yesterday, it's coaching is probably not the way. Consulting is the way. Not probably. Coaching is not the way. Consulting is the way. Coaching requires
Absolutely.
more
Time
time. Coaching
and
requires
effort.
more effort. And
Mhm.
this was a great example. Thank you.
Just like
Thank.
soldiers, there are people who are made to be sergeant and generals who give the marching orders. There are people, and 99%, this is why one general can lead and like 1,000, 1,200 people. Because the 1,200 people, 1,199 people, all they want to do is uh, give me an order. I want an order. Tell me what to do. I don't want to think. And I've dealt with these people. I deal with them on a daily basis. I don't want to think. I don't want to just tell me what to do. And those people you identify, you become the lead and top down approach of those. And you, as you mentioned, you identify people who are coachable. And those are the, like you mentioned, I've built at least 3 or 4. I'm building 3 more right now from completely another region out of 60 people. And there are people who I've hung up the phone with them. I've called their boss and say, this person is done. Remove them from my team within five
Yes,
minutes.
yeah, you're really great
So
at identifying and building the leaders, and coaching is how you identify and build, like, how you build people who lead, people who own their work, and like you said, they don't wait for the orders from the general. They step
they
up
make
and
your
they
jaw
take
drop.
control. Yeah.
Yeah, they make your jaw drop. Like, wow, you were capable of this? I didn't know that. You know, a few of them that I've told you about, I've traveled with them. They're like, but you're only 26 years old. How are you possible? How is this possible? And so, anyways, I love the conversation, and we're so on time this time. I think we're doing amazingly on this conversation. Anything else you want to add? I think we're pretty good.
I also think it's pretty good. We provided a couple of examples, and again, it's not either or, it's and. Like, now that you have listened to this episode and the difference between acting as a consultant when you lead your team and acting as a coach when you lead your team, now you have this in your tool belt. Now you can go and test the approaches. You can go and see, in this situation, I think consulting will be better. In that situation, I think coaching will be better, and try and see how it works. And we would love to actually hear your approach. If you are already using these, what works and in what situations. And if you're not using, whenever you try it, let us know how it goes. And of course, if you have any questions as well, ask the questions. We'll answer them. And if you do need
Absolutely.
help, if you there's anything in your business, I will put a link to our services so you can check and see what we offer in terms of consulting and coaching services. We have both to help you build a business beyond what we are sharing here.
Mm,
So check it
mm,
out and see what's there. And
yeah. Don't be
tomorrow,
afraid to change your thinking. Don't adapting is not sign of weakness. Uh,
well, this is actually the
this
survival.
transformed my career. Yes, it transformed my career. After years of thinking I'm right, everybody else is wrong, it really as a leader, it will transform your team, yourself, and your business. It will just explode.
Oh, absolutely, 100% agree with this. So this is it for today. Tomorrow we will be back with another episode where we'll actually uh, remove the curtains a little bit and share some details about our Thrive 360 business solutions, and specifically the Business Clarity Accelerator, which is a 2-day assessment that allows you to review your bottlenecks and see where you are and where you need to be, like what the situation is right now. So join us tomorrow to see how you can review the bottlenecks in your business in just a couple of days. Thanks, Jores.
Amazing. Thank you, Anna. Bye bye.
Bye.